Are you that person in the room who just sees the bigger picture? The one who naturally thinks in systems, even if your job title has nothing to do with being an architect? If that sounds like you, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down how you can turn that unique perspective into your biggest career advantage, even if you don't have a formal enterprise architecture team backing you up. So, does this hit close to home? You're the one everyone turns to when things get messy, right? You connect the dots, you untangle the knots, you've got the vision, but maybe you don't have the official title. And that catch? Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. You know what? Let's give this a name. You're an invisible architect. It's not about what's on your business card, it's about how your brain is wired. You're the one who can see the whole forest when everyone else is just looking at the trees. And honestly, that's a superpower. So this brings us to a really core idea here. We're going to completely reframe how you look at your situation. Not having that formal title, that's not a roadblock. It's actually an opportunity to prove that it's your perspective, your way of thinking, that holds all the value. Think about it. You don't need anyone's permission to think like an architect. It's a skill, a discipline, a mindset that you can start building on right now, from whatever desk you're sitting at. It's all about what you do, not what you're called. Okay, now check this out, because this chart really drives the point home. When you look at what actually makes an architect, a whopping 80% of it is just mindset. The actual role you're in, that's about 15%. And the title itself, it's just the last little 5%. This proves you're already most of the way there. All right, so you've got the mindset. How do you actually put it into practice? Well, I'm going to walk you through a super practical 4-step playbook that you can start using today. And you don't need any fancy software or some big official mandate to do it. All right, so here they are, the 4 steps to our playbook. First, we're going to talk about using the tools you already have. Then, shadowing the company's strategy. Third, thinking beyond your immediate project. And finally, getting your ideas out there. Let's break them down. First up, and this is a big one, don't sit around waiting for some fancy, expensive, enterprise-grade tool. Seriously, the most powerful tool you have is your own brain. And you can absolutely support it with the software that's probably already on your computer. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got the official enterprise EA tools. They're expensive, they're super complex, and you need a ton of buy-in from leadership to even get them. But on the other side, you've got your tools. Excel, PowerPoint, Visio. They're already there, they're surprisingly powerful for mapping things out, and best of all, you can start using them right now. All right, step 2. This one is all about getting that 30,000-foot view. To really think like an architect, you have to understand what the organization is trying to accomplish at the very highest level. You gotta shadow the strategy. And you know what? This info is usually hiding in plain sight. Go on a little hunt. Find your company's annual report. Dig around on the intranet for those strategy decks. Get a handle on the KPIs and OKRs that leadership is always talking about. This stuff is gold because it gives you the context to see if the projects you're working on are actually pushing the company forward. Now we get to step 3, and this is where you really start to flex those architect muscles. Whatever project you're on, you've got to make a conscious effort to push the boundaries and think way beyond just your assigned tasks. You got to start building a habit of asking these kinds of questions. Don't just build the thing they asked for. Ask, why are we building it? What's the actual business impact? How is this little piece going to plug into the giant puzzle of our company's systems? And this is a big one. How can we design this so someone else can use it later? So what comes out of all this extra thinking? Well, one really powerful thing you can create is what's called a reference model. Basically, once you've solved a tough problem, like building a new app, you document the playbook. What were the security issues? What design principles worked? What were the big challenges? You create a guide so the next team doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. You're literally creating value for the entire organization. Okay, last but definitely not least, step 4. It's simple. Amazing ideas are totally useless if they just trapped inside your head. You have to get them out there. It's all about communication and making your architectural thinking visible to everyone else. Just use the platforms you've already got. Start a conversation on your company's internal network. Whatever it is, Yammer, SharePoint, you name it. Maybe write one short post a week about a pattern you've noticed. You can even share some of your high-level thoughts on LinkedIn or Medium. The goal is super simple. Get on people's radar as someone who thinks about the big picture. Okay, so let's talk about the why. Because this isn't about just piling on more work for no reason, right? There's a real strategic payoff to following this playbook. Look, the whole point of doing all this, shadowing the strategy, thinking beyond your scope, sharing your ideas, It all boils down to one word: influence. This is how you stop being just the person who does the tasks and start becoming the person who helps decide which tasks get done. When you keep doing this stuff consistently, 3 amazing things happen. First, you're not just faking it, you're actually developing a true leadership mindset. Second, you start getting noticed by the key decision makers who are desperate for strategic thinkers. And finally, you stop waiting for your next opportunity. You create it. So when a need for an architect comes up, you're the obvious choice. And as we start to wrap this up, there's one final really important piece of this. While you can totally do all this on your own, your journey is going to be so much better and, frankly, more successful if you don't go it alone. Just remember this quote, because it's so true. Find the other invisible architects where you work. I guarantee you they're there. Grab a coffee, start a chat channel, share what you're seeing. Your collective brain power will always, always be greater than what you can do by yourself. So, there you have it. You've got the mindset. Now you've got the playbook. The only thing left is to start. So, take a look at the work you have on your plate for this week and ask yourself, what's the very first pattern you're going to investigate? What's the first connection you're going to make? Your journey as an architect starts right now.